Good morning, madam. Our title is Managing Risk in Takaful Business and the Functions of Retakaful. So my name is Meng Hwa, matric number 271427. So I'm going to explain the introduction. So what is Takaful Business? Takaful Business is insurance in Islam, and it is an agreement amongst an individual and group of people to deal with the injuries dealing specific on risk, which of them are unprotected. So Takaful also is a principle of Tabaru, and Tabaru means donations, and Ta'awun means support and helping each other. And in Takaful business, participant makes donations by paying particular amount of money, and they exist mutually to tackle the risk of loss due to the uncertain events such as accident, theft, disaster, and disease and death. So Takaful business, also the concept of Takaful originates from the Arab customary practices. So there are three elements are prohibited in the Takaful, which are the gara, uncertainty, miser, gambling, and riba, which is interest. Next, what is risk and what is the risk management? So risk is defined as the amount of loss that relate on assets such as damage on car or houses, and also related with the life such as injury in an accident or premature death. So for example, the motor vehicle Takaful plan helps to cover the loss and the damage of car due to an accident, death, or third party. While the risk management is a method that defines those exposure faced by an entity and choose the most suitable strategy for the treatment of those exposure. Next, managing risk in Takaful. So managing risk in Takaful is a process of determining possible losses of Takaful operator and choose the most effective approach for managing such exposure potential losses. Managing risk is the risk assessment, and managing of risk is the best approach to prevent for the possibility upcoming risk. So when we identify the risk, then we can mitigate the risk easily. So when a Takaful company reveals for its strategy to deal with the full risk and establishes structure to resolve them. Managing risk in Takaful is effective when we make informed decisions easily with the existence of necessary informed and ensures the company is avoid from the risk as possible. It also helps to improve the confidence of investor and customer to take on more on product in the business, and then stimulates the growth of the business. Next, managing risk in Takaful operation. Managing risk in Takaful operation, also called as a risk Takaful, is a process of distribution the risk that helps to lighten the financial difficulties of Takaful business operations. It has the same functions of mitigate the risk for Takaful operator, but it's actually not a risk sharing method because Retakaful play as a role as a risk manager, but not a risk taker in conventional insurance. It's based on the Mutaraba principle. Next. So there are three importance of managing risk in Takaful. First, it helps to protect the financial assets of the business. So when a participant makes a financial commitment such as purchasing a house or car by borrowing money from a bank, it can earn a lot of future income. For example, Fire Protect Takaful helps to protect against the property due to fire, lightning, or explosion. Next, it also helps to ensure that we have enough funds to implement the Takaful business. It helps to ensure that every party have the adequate training to perform their functions well in the business operations. because the viability of Retakaful industry are also depends on the viability of the market. Next, guarantee the desired return from investment. Investment can earn a return on the investment plus the premium return at the end of the policy. And then it remain funds in the Takaful fund on the maturity of the policy shall be transferred back to the participant after deduct the charges such as operation fees. Next.
Hello, my name is Ong Yik Leong, and then I will continue to the type of risk in Takaful. Okay, in general, there are 5 types of risk in Takaful, which is underwriting risk, credit risk, liquidity risk, market risk, and operational risk. And then let's move to the next slide. Underwriting risk is occurred due to the effort selections of candidate or due to the Retakaful risk as a result or inability of Retakaful operator to meet the obligations. Okay, so to manage this risk, we need to applying verifications of data. This is very important where the verification is the efficient way where the participant is hard to hide the information to the insurer. Okay, the second risk is credit risk. Credit risk occurs a result of default of counterparty when it fails to meet its obligations in time and in accordance with agreed term. Normally, credit risk may be treated as default risk, migration risk, spread risk, and concentration risk. And then to manage this risk, we need to maintain appropriate credit terms. The terms also contain the penalty to the participant where if they did not pay for the premium, the Takaful operator will set a time limit to the participant, and then they need to pay within the period or their fund from their premium account will be deducted to pay the premium. Okay, moving to the third risk, which is liquidity risk. Liquidity risk is the risk resulting from Takaful company inability to meet its obligations when they fall due to some reasons. The risk occurred because the company has insufficient liquid access or high level of liabilities. Okay, so in order to manage the risk, the Takaful operator should be able to plan for the annual budget in the company, where this can let them know the financial positions in the Takaful company, and then they can search for the solution first as a backup plan to avoid this risk happen in their company. Right, the fourth risk is market risk. Market risk is the volatility of price in instrument and asset of Takaful company in the market. It can be classified as equity price risk, interest rate risk, currency risk, and commodity price risk. Okay, so in order to manage this risk, we need to use a hedging method. Hedging is one of the financial strategy where Takaful operator can minimize the variance of company, and then they can protect the currency of the cash flow in the organizations. Okay, the last type of risk in Takaful is operational risk. Normally, operational risk is defined as a risk of losses resulting from inadequate or failed internal process, people and system, or from external event, which include legal risk and Sharia compliance risk but execute the strategy. Normally, we also can refer operational risk to the human risk, which the main factor which drive this risk actually from the humans. And then in order to manage the risk, we need to develop an effective workflow management. Typically, Takaful operator can decrease the failure in the internal process if they can make some adjustment to ensure the subordinates can create a new workflow. From this way, this type of risk can avoid by the Takaful operator. I think that's all for my part. Thank you.
My name is Wong Yong Kai, and my metric number is 271701. As the previous speaker has mentioned the type of risk and in the Takaful and the ways to manage the risk, but there are still certain challenges for Takaful industries in managing the risk in Takaful. Okay, next. The first challenges in the Takaful industry in managing risk is internal control. Internal control are very important in each industry, including Takaful, as it will provide the guidelines movement for the company to move so that it can increase the effectiveness of the company and strengthens the policies of the company itself. The components in the internal control systems, including the sets of rules, guidelines, and process in the organizations, so that the company's goal will be accomplished in a short time. There are three elements in the internal control system which needs to be took serious by each manager. The first element in the internal control system is the control procedure. Second, the environment control. Last but not least, the last element in the internal control is accounting system. Okay, the next challenges in managing the risk in Takaful is corporate governance. Corporate governance can be described as a system that a company are directly controlled by the management departments in the company. The challenges of corporate governance are the Takaful industries is what will be the suitable methods for the industries in term of changing the conventional financial product into the Islamic friendly product, as Takaful rejected some of the conventional financial product is because it contains the elements of gara, riba, mindset inside their product. Next, the challenges is conflict of interest. This happens due to the officers of the corporations consist of other financial benefits that will affect the objective of the organizations. Okay, the third challenges in managing the risk in Takaful are Sharia-based challenges. The word Sharia can be described as the Islamic canonical law that used by the majority Islamic countries all around the world, based on the guidelines of the traditional prophets. The challenges of the Sharia-based challenge is that Takaful companies could not manage the risk by their participants due to most of the risk management techniques are based on the prerequisites of the Sharia compliance. The risk of or losses that occurs due to gara, maisir, and riba could be rejected due to the activities are illegal and does not recognized by the Sharia compliance. On the other side, the Takaful industries also rejected some useful mechanisms that used by the conventional insurance industries. This is because Takaful industries claim that the instruments in the conventional insurance does not meet the requirements of the Sharia compliance. Okay, the fourth challenges in managing the risk in Takaful is financial engineering. The purpose of financial engineering is to create the new advanced Sharia compliance Islamic financial tools for Islamic financial institutions together with Takaful industries. The challenges that related to the financial engineering, which are the process of the transferring fatwa, are quite slow by the Takaful operator. This is because each people have the different knowledge and because they are from different academic background. Next, the needs of standardize all the process of introducing all the news product in the markets. This happens due to currents. There are many Takaful industries in the world and managed by different type of board of director. The fifth challenges in managing risk is Islamic financial markets. Islamic financial market play an important role as a secondary marketplace for interchanging of Islamic financial mechanisms. The challenges that relates to the Islamic financial market toward the Takaful industries in managing the risk. This is because in this era of globalization, it is awful hard for Takaful industries to maintain the low liquidity positions. The Takaful industries are lack of earns all the profits returns from the investment while waiting for the Takaful participants' contributions. Next, the late payments also faced by Takaful industry in managing the risk. In conventional financial industries, if the late payments by the participant will be charged for the interest of late payment. But in Islamic financial industries, the late payments by Takaful participants has become the vexing problems that faced by the industries every time. The last challenges in managing risk in Takaful is credit rating agency. The purpose of to guide Sharia compliance and the financial strengths of IFI together with Takaful industries. The challenges of credit rating agencies to the Takaful industries is that the Takaful industries need to privatize the credit rating agency. This made the Takaful operator need to analyze the informations that are given by the participants itself. This took a lot of time for the Takaful operators to analyze the information, as the Takaful operator does not have the system which can check the personal information of the participants straight away and get the informations. Thank you.
My name is Jian Hao and the matter number is 270902. I'm going to discuss about what is the Retakaful and the function of Retakaful in managing risk. In general, Retakaful is a Takaful for Takaful business, which means that the Takaful operator is take as entertain the Retakaful as a protection that provided by the Retakaful company. So the risk of Takaful operator is being shared between the Takaful operator and the Retakaful operator. There are two arrangements in Retakaful, which is facultative and treaty. And there are two operation method, which is al-mudarabah and al-wakala. Al-mudarabah is sharing of profit, while the al-wakala is the use of agency. So I'm now going to discuss about the three functions of Retakaful in managing risk. So there are three functions, which is provide underwriting facility, the backup for catastrophic loss, and provide expertise for Takaful operator. Okay, now I'm going to discuss about the first function of Retakaful. So the first function is provide underwriting facility. This which means that the Takaful operator is able to accept higher risk policy as the risk is being shared together with Takaful operator. So the Takaful operator do not worry about the loss from the policy that contain higher risk because the risk is being shared. So they can underwrite a higher policy and can provide full coverage policy to the customer. So the second function is Retakaful is a backup for catastrophic loss. As being mentioned previously, Retakaful is a protection that protects the Takaful operator. So the Takaful operator can get protection for Takaful company when Takaful applicant file to claim a huge amount of reimbursement, which means that when the Takaful participant claim, so the Takaful operator can share the risk with Retakaful company. So the Takaful operator do not get into a financial crisis. The last function is that Retakaful company can provide appetite to Takaful operator. As we all know that Retakaful company has a lot of appetites that contain a lot of knowledge and information about the Takaful business. So it can help Takaful operator in handling different risks in proper and adequate approach. This can help Takaful operator and company to minimize the probability of getting into huge loss, which maybe the Takaful operator lack of experience, maybe they will underwrite a policy which has higher risk that may get them into a trouble. So in result, that will improve operation efficiencies by having the protection from Retakaful company. So in conclusion, there are three functions of Retakaful, which is provide underwriting flexibility, backup for catastrophic loss, and provide expertise. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you.